All right. I am here with one of my best friends, probably my best friend, uh, in one of the early episodes of kind of the comeback of the Talented 10 podcast. And so definitely wanted to make sure that Rakeem was at the front of the list here. So important to me. Going to learn a little bit about him. He's going to ask me some questions as well. But want to begin kind of getting some context because I know Rakeem really well, really, really well. He knows me probably better than anyone. And very similar to how this podcast started when I was 30, I really just wanted to have something where I could explain how I am, what I think in my own words, on my own time, and not allow people's interpretation of me to be what most people know. And so part of kind of taking this to the next level and sitting down and it not just being about me setting the record straight like that first season was, is also the people that are close to me learn a little bit about me and the values I have through the people that are important to me. And there's not many people more important to me than Rakeem. So before we get started, Angels Envy Rye is my favorite rye. I like to say Rakeem is on his bourbon journey. So this is rye, not bourbon, but I think you've opened a bottle of this recently.
Yep, I did on Thanksgiving.
But I thought it was important that this was the bottle because he acted like he couldn't open it for so long, and I'm like, dude, I have 3 bottles. This is so good. I'm not like
It is
waiting months to open it. So
it's very good.
Angels Envy Rye is what we'll have today.
It reminds me of the holidays. The Christmas spirit or the holiday spirit is just, that's why I waited till the holidays to open my bottle. But it's a great bottle for sure. My only rye I got though, but very good. Very, very good.
So, and I don't know, this may be a 2-parter, who knows, because we'll just keep going.
Right.
But start with your childhood. Like, what is a important thing that happened or important time, and then take me through the sports, and then we can get to college where I met you. But what is like one of those moments in your childhood that kind of was important and kind of shaping who you are, or was like a turning point?
One of the most important, because my childhood is not made for everybody, but it's unique to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the most important parts of my childhood was when I moved to my grandma's.
Yeah.
I was forced to be moved to my grandma's.
Mm-hmm.
Reason why is because my mom was dealing with the wrong people, and the door been kicked in on us twice to where she had to go do time in prison. And so my grandma came and rescued us. But moving to my grandma showed stability, consistency. She was a church lady, so we sat on the third row of church every Sunday. She was the church secretary, so we was at church 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
She was just, if you thought of the church, which was Bethany Baptist Church, you thought of Clarice Lambert, which was my grandma. Small town in Clinton, Oklahoma, so it's a real small community town. You either play sports mainly there, or pretty much everybody played sports if you was a kid, and then if not, you was in the church doing something within the church.
She loved her grandkids.
Oh yeah, I mean, so she not only wanted us, but she didn't want to give us back yet when my mom did get out. So I mean, I stayed with my grandma for like 4 years, and those times was very crucial. Just learning, or even just the meals she made or whatever. The thing we did most was we used to go to Arizona a lot, and so she used to send me to Arizona all the time because that's where her oldest son stayed.
Yep.
Which is my uncle and my mom's brother. So that was fun because I was the youngest grandchild and all boys, and they was all older. So I'm fighting to keep up with boys,
Yep.
older boys. And so I'm thinking I can hit the oldest one and run. Well, he can catch me, hit me in the chest. And so then one time they was picking with me to where they tied me up with belts and put me in the bush till my uncle came home. You know, like it's to me, that's I'm thinking, okay, that's
Rough,
normal.
tough love.
Right. You know, and so we used to go and we used to try to rob the ice cream in and whatever, and it was just normal. But the last time I was there, and when grandma came and got me from there, I was like, yeah, you Doug, probably coming back. We outside with my uncle and his friends. They arguing, having some good times, and you thinking with their kids, you thinking like, oh, they just being older men and had a little drink, but one actually took it personal to where they came back and shot the other person right in front of us, where we was pushed into the apartment, and my uncle tried to chase after the other guy. So from there, that was a learning curve, as in what you're around, or
Things could go sideways
real fast,
real quick. Yeah.
real quick, without you even knowing it.
Yep.
And especially with young ones around,
Yep.
having to see it. And so, grandmas came and got us from there. And then my mom, she got out, and grandma wouldn't give us back to us probably for like one more year. And so, sixth grade is when my mom got me, and
You were in Fort Smith from that.
from there, yep.
Um, talk about like when you knew you were going to college, like kind of towards that end of your high school career, or you're in
So
junior or so.
I had a cousin who she came up in the same lifestyle. She probably was at one of the houses that got kicked in, because they was looking for her mama and my daddy. So she probably was more likely there because my mama raised her as well for the most part than her grandma did, and her name's Ebony, of course. But she was at the U of A, and we came up, I think, for like a show, because she was a Delta, of course, but she was in the show, step show, whatever. And so that was the first time I got a whiff of that college experience, or seeing what fraternities and sororities do.
Yep.
Not only that, my junior year was probably one of the most up and down years for me, because I started out a star, getting looked at for football, got in some trouble from the summer from us doing ding dong ditch and pretty much popping people's cars up and taking stuff out of it. Got caught on campus, and of course we had to go to juvie. Mom left me in there to teach me a lesson. She could have got me out in 30 minutes, no more than an hour, easy. I know she could have. She done said she could have, but she left me in there for a reason. Got out the next day, I got suspended.
Cause she had seen and didn't want.
She done seen it.
She don't want you to go down that
Her
path.
exact words was, "I'm going down the same path as my daddy, and I can end up worse than him," is what she said. And those words stuck to me to when she said that, to where I kind of actually, my feelings was hurt.
Yeah.
Because one, I'm not like my dad, but not only that, I seen how he is. I seen what he is. I mean, that's why my mom left him when I was 5, 6 years old, just because they was in an abusive domestic relationship.
It was volatile.
Very.
Yeah.
And so when she said that, it stuck with me. And I mean, it still stick with me. But when she said that, though, she was saying it out of love, because she done seen it and she done been there.
Yep.
And so one thing,
and she lost you.
Right.
I mean, she wanted you.
Yeah, she was. I think she said she might have cried at least her first 30 plus days, because she didn't have me. She had my sister. Even though she knew we was in her care, her mom, which is my grandma, she still didn't have us.
And y'all are close. I mean,
exactly.
I know that.
Yeah.
Other people may not know, but like.
Yeah, and then to this day, she's the strongest woman I know. You know what I'm saying? But she went through a lot to become strong like that.
Yeah.
And so for that to be, for her to do that, she did it at one knows. It was out of love and to teach me something.
Yep.
But from there, after I think junior year, the summer of, Ed got me in the Dr. Lofton's program, which was something I believe it was ACAP. I think it was ACAP.
It was either ACAP or TCAP.
Right. And so with that, I was able to get the whole field. We actually stayed on campus. I think we stayed in some dorms and stuff. Got to meet a lot of different people because before that,
I missed you by a year. I went my senior year.
right. So before that though, like outside of me playing AAU basketball, I really didn't just go nowhere.
Right.
Outside of Fort Smith, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me to see that, but also see a different side of other people besides the people I'm running around with,
Right.
was actually good for me to see. Like, oh, you from here? Oh, dang, you smart. You know, like, oh,
Yeah.
you know how to do this? What? You know, like, so, and for me getting suspended from football, and they told me I can only focus on track for this year, to going to that, it made me like, man, I really want to go to U of A. And then I was like, their program is actually really good.
Yeah.
Really, actually not good, great. That's when they had the 44 before they took a couple and all that stuff, whatever. And so I was like, okay, I really can do something with these hurdles. Let's try that.
Yeah.
And so, long story short, I did the ACT. I got accepted. Dr. Lofton got a couple of scholarships for me. I was able to be on the track team.
Shout out Dr. Lofton.
Yes, 100%. Because she do for
Life
so many
changes.
people that she don't even have to do for.
She's retired now. Enjoy retirement, please. But like, yeah, a lot of lives changed because of Dr. Lofton.
I mean, that's the thing. She want to change Ebony's life and change mine. That's two people from the same background. That you know,
yeah, me too. I wouldn't.
You know what I'm saying? So
I wouldn't be at the U of A, or I'd be in even more debt if it wasn't for her.
But that's the thing, though. So with that, and so mixed in with track or whatever, boom, came to the U of A. Freshman year, didn't know you yet.
No.
I knew, freshman year, I knew quite a few athletes, I guess, because I was around the track and some parties and stuff, and we ain't crossed paths just yet. But I'd say after first semester, second semester, right after that, because so what's the frustrating thing about freshman year for me, which wasn't, everything is for a reason, I look at, and everything's a lesson.
Yeah.
All the stuff I've been through, I can say and say it's not made for no child.
Right.
But it's unique to me because I was able to do it and see the light of it instead of letting it handicap me.
Right.
So freshman year, I started out or whatever, going to practice or whatever, and then I got deemed ineligible, and I didn't know nothing about what that meant or anything.
Yeah.
I just knew I couldn't go to practice no more.
Right.
So I got comfortable. I wasn't going to practice. I was just going to school, study hall, or whatever, really wasn't working out or nothing. I was like, man, it's freshman year. There's people all over campus. There's parties going on and stuff. And so I finally got eligibility late October.
Yeah.
And so my first day back in practice is Halloween relays, where we got to go run the 400 or whatever, which I did, and actually did pretty well. To be not
straight adrenaline.
Swear, I had a muscle shirt on, and I had
my God,
some little short red shorts on, and I was with Chris Bilbrew and Travis and those guys that was here then, and so took off and boom, and so then all that was good. I'm like, okay, I'm about to be good to go, about to sell this on in there. Come next semester, that's when Mom's was real. Had arthritis real bad.
Was there a photo?
Yes. And so she had double surgery for her ankles to get a plate in there and like a metal rod in there.
I remember.
And the thing is, she walked on a broken ankle for like 6 months without knowing it was like broken. Mm-hmm. She just thought it was arthritis.
Went from a hairline fracture to a major fracture. Yeah.
And so I had a decision to make, like, okay, I got a lot. I'm going back and forth to Fort Smith, but also coming back and forth up here. 45 minutes on the highway. I can get there probably in 40. When I was in freshman, I was probably getting there in 40, you know.
Get there now.
So now
I get to your house in 40, and that's not even like.
And so,
shout out to the state trooper.
Right. I had the decisions to make or whatever after that. And so I decided to not finish track and just try to at least do the most important thing what my mom wanted me to do, which was school.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. Come sophomore year is when this is when we come across each other. And so
Okay. All right. Talk about the first time we met.
okay. So
without using the word
now,
asshole.
Right. So
right.
you know where I come from and everything. So I go in there and I get a call. We get the call, whatever. I meet over there. I come in there and I'm like, I get in and I see people I ain't met before or whatever. And I'm sitting like, and I see you, of course. And I don't know if it's just you just looking, your confidence along with just how you look. And I'm sitting like, who's this guy? And he said that or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work. Like that's the first thing I thought. I don't know if this is really going to work.
What was it going to work?
That's what I don't know. So, and it's probably because I never met you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, I probably had the same thought even with Ricky, but it's more so like, I think that's what it was. Just like me coming from where I come from, whatever, never met you. And I've seen guys be the downfall of other men. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting here like, and then I think something where you said something or whatever, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a real know-it-all type of mother sucker right here, And so I'm saying like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a fun ride, and this is all new territory to me.
You didn't think it was gonna be fun.
No,
you thought I'm not gonna fuck with this guy.
Yeah, literally thought like,
yeah,
I'm gonna get through this and go about my business, but like. All this was new to me. I didn't know much about it. Nobody never really told me anything on it. You come from that. You know what I'm saying? You are a legacy.
Yeah, I am.
And I mean, and your dad might not have told you everything, but you still a legacy. You knew it. You knew what you was going to be probably from the time you hit junior high or something because you seen it. And so for me, getting in there, not knowing what it's going to be about or anything, but also dealing with some people, I've been here on campus for a year. I ain't crossed paths with you.
Yeah, see, so this is little Suge Knight. This was you were Suge in 2010. You were
I was a little on the rough side of it.
Yeah, that was right. Like it was like, wait a minute, how are we the same? How have you been here as long as I have, and I don't? You haven't come and seen me.
Yeah,
That was the
I feel
vibe.
like you ain't checked in or something.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I don't know why I had that mindset or whatever, but I feel
I had a. I'll tell you what my side of it. I honestly, I don't even remember like our interest meeting and things like that. I don't remember either. I remember. The night after, I remember that night. I don't remember the actual meeting. Won't forget the night.
Right.
But I didn't really think, I was so laser focused and like focused on me. I was like, I'm only going to worry about me. I don't know these dudes. Like, that's how I was at that time. And so I am used to, from how I was raised, people assuming I'm a soft ass dude. Like I get it. I get it. Like it's something that I use to my advantage as well. But so I know who's sizing me up, and you were one of those guys.
I was,
and I was just like,
I think I was from a place where if I can see, me seeing you or seeing a person like, all right, I know what you're about, because I could test people. Mm-hmm. Well, I thought I knew what you was about, but I was completely wrong.
Well, we were both completely wrong.
And so I'm sitting there like, okay, like as we, starting the process and going through the process or whatever, I mean, I'm like, okay, this person going through the same stuff I'm going through times whatever.
Well, I hated you,
in
the process.
Well, during it, of course, because I was still selfish. I'm not gonna lie.
Which
and
is
say I
weird
wasn't.
because you're like one of the most selfless people
persons
now.
which
But
is
like,
it is very
yeah.
weird. And maybe that's
I
what
don't
taught me.
know.
Maybe that's what taught me not to be more selfless. Because I don't know why I was so selfish during that time, or just during that process. And it's so weird. But it took me to understand. Like, hold up a second. Like, as we all do something,
Right.
it's better. As in, if I'm leading y'all out the drop, you know what I'm saying. And it's probably
Yeah.
what
I don't know.
taught me to be that. Because I did what I wanted to do. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say, "Oh yeah, I was about the
You
team."
can't lie to me.
I was like Allen Iverson. I wasn't about the team. You know what I'm saying? I just wasn't. But as we got more and more into
what were you like? For instance, when we had to be a particular place, and we all got the same notification to be at a particular place, and you just you didn't just not be there, but you would sometimes tell us, "I'm gonna finish dinner." like it was
to my mindset, it was like, look,
which is so different than where you are to like today. You would drop anything. What were you thinking at that time?
I'm thinking in my mind, like, there's no point of rushing to something you already know is gonna come if you get there quicker or not.
No, but it's not. It's gonna be worse.
It's gonna be worse regardless in my mind, though.
Okay.
I thought
All
is
right.
the point. So, and I may be 100% wrong, but like it was like me is like, I mean, like if I'm gonna go into some problems or into some chaos, I'm at least gonna go in there with a full belly.
Okay. I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
You eventually told us that, and like,
I'm not gonna be
was
not
that
hungry.
was I moved by that?
No,
no,
100%.
I wasn't. But at the end of the day, like,
Yeah, and another thing too, I was working too during that time,
yeah.
and so
You remember that time you called me and said, "Hey, a group of people, we won't say,
oh
but
man,
a group of people were messing with
me,
you."
They're looking at me weird, and I'm like, hey, they came across the same area I walked at least 3 times. I was like, bro, we about to sneak these dudes or something because I think we gonna have a problem.
These guys they keep following me. Can you come?
But I swear, I was like, bro,
okay, I'll be there.
They keep walking by here, and I don't know.
I'm coming in my blazer.
Maybe at that time I maybe talked to one of their girls. I don't know, but I was just sitting there like,
probably.
Hey, we're gonna have a little problem up here, a little right. So I call my people that I know.
Now, keep in mind now, people, audience, you were working at like a Solaris.
Yeah.
So Rakeem was in the middle of the mall, back when malls actually had traffic. So somebody walking by him 2 or 3 times is not really that.
It's pretty common, but to me, common.
But you felt like
me though, yeah. Then it's uncommon. If you walking and you with a group of people,
so
y'all should be chatting.
So where was that point where we did not get along? But man, I respected that, like, you just did what, like, I respected that. So in the midst of not liking what you were doing, I respected the fact that you stood on it. So like, how did we go from the point of mutual dislike almost to where you can call me, and this is in the process, where you can just call me and say, "Hey, I may have to fight these dudes. Can you come up here?" And like my ass is like, "Okay, I'm coming."
I think when we
is there an issue? Like, hey, nah, they keep walking by me. All right, this doesn't feel like I should be dropping everything to potentially come fight. But all right, it was Rakeem, so I'll do it.
I think the night was plotting, or I was plotting, to jump Mike. And
Mike Edwards
was not.
Mike remembers this night.
Yes, and you was really not against it. You was like, but you more so talk more sensitive to me. And I was like, okay, you're a real one. And not only that, was just like, you seen stuff from a different perspective, and I only seen stuff in the only way I knew to handle stuff.
Yeah.
And so, and that's the thing you done taught me at this time. And Dub still will try to call me Pitbull Noob.
Mm-hmm.
It's because that's how it kind of started out. And it wasn't me probably doing it on purpose or anything. It was just me being me from what I knew or had to
You were
come across.
protecting yourself in the way that you knew how to protect yourself.
Right. And so
Soft didn't get you far where you were from. You needed to let people know on the front end.
yeah,
Like, hey,
I mean, and so when that, and I was like, hey, I gotta get Mike. You was like, no, listen, like, this is what it is, and this is what the process requires, and yada yada yada. And it made me to open my eyes and like, you right.
and I knew Mike.
Right. And I didn't. And so I thought he was just a flat ass asshole.
Mike was a complete and utter asshole in the
So
process.
I thought he was doing shit on purpose. And when
He
I feel like
totally
somebody's
was
doing
doing it
stuff
on
on purpose, it's like, I gotta get you. But you give me a different light and also helping me to understand the process I didn't know.
Right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so not only did you help me through this, because I probably would have bounced. I would have bounced the first time. He was like, no. Like, so not only did it show like brotherhood, but you show like, here, lean on me to get you somewhere that you not understanding.
Right.
And if you can lean on somebody to get you somewhere through a tough time like that, then
Yeah, it's easy from here.
right.
Yeah.
And then you know they got your back and you done showed it. Not only that, but you showed it. So it's like, okay, so I'm in the mall, like, I'm about to call my dude. Hold up a second, you know? And so, and of course, you, since talking since B, was like, hold up a second, like, you sure or they just, you're like, well, if you need me, just, make sure you, but are you for sure? Like, and that's where it gave me a different light, as in like, hold up a second, I need to start seeing life differently a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's probably where now I'm probably the most selfless person.
Oh, you totally are.
And so, but it came with a lesson from what I done,
Right.
but also what you done showed or helped to see.
So for me, the point for me was the realization of, and for a long time I thought I was just kind of reverting back to my old arrogance, but I think looking back on it is like I knew where you were when we started and where you were all the weeks after when we ended, and it was like, dude, totally. I mean, and also we had some we had some very interesting moments online.
100%. And I think one of those interesting moments for sure was, my little trip.
Yeah, your trip.
Yeah, well, first though was our trip coming back.
Yeah, when
I blew that tire.
Well, and when my windshield
wiper went out, so we was trying to like get the windshield wiper because we was in the pouring rain. And I was like, one, that told me right there, like, you can drive and you can get it, like, because you didn't slow down for nothing. And we was like, we're gonna get this windshield wiper going and we're gonna get home. And it was pouring down.
It was
pouring down coming from Kansas, and I'm like, man, like.
I felt so much respect. I felt like I had people's lives in my hand, honestly.
And so we was doing whatever we could to make it happen, and we made it home in one piece.
We did.
No problems or nothing.
Scared as shit.
Right. And so then, from there, the incident to go back to go get my truck because my tire blew, it was like, okay, you need to change some of your ways.
But I felt like you were.
I was.
But you had to, or this is my interpretation, was that you were doing all the things and developing and becoming more wise and more selfless, and all the great things that you are today began during that time. But I think we all have to have a point where we are okay with how that change may come off to people who knew like a older self.
Right.
So,
And that's the thing. It was like, I think, I mean, that incident happened it actually was from freshman year. So for it to be, or how it happened or whatever, but the support I got was like, wait a second, hold up. Like, like,
yeah.
I'm
Well,
still in the process. Y'all really just, don't know me like that, but like, the
no, we did.
support.
Yeah. Well,
Or
that's
if you need something, all the support. And I'm saying like, dang.
oh yeah.
You know
I
what I'm saying?
mean but that was also when I realized uh when you do it the right way, you may even resist it, but like at the end of the day you're bound in a way. There's a responsibility to each other that like didn't like but you don't know how deep it'll really go.
Right.
And so I mean honestly, man, I felt that I mean when we moved in together, obviously that was big, but man, holding Kaylin, man, was just
First time she came out, you came up there, moms, Kiera, her mom, Kiera's niece. I think them the only ones that was there.
I still have the picture.
Yeah.
Um, that was when I knew, like, no, man, I love that guy, Rakeem.
But that's the thing is like, I mean, you done seen every phase of step of my life, every hurdle to difficulty,
Yep.
life lesson or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you seen it from afar, you're like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? We done seen those.
Yep.
It's just what it is, but you done seen it, but you done supported it, and then it's like, here, let me help you get up.
Right, but I've also learned a lot on how to be a friend, how to let people grow, how to grow,
Right.
and
I think the
within
first
a friendship.
I think the first lesson I probably taught you is when we stayed together, and I was freak. I was like it come from moms. I was a neat freak,
Yeah.
a heavy neat freak, and you was learning more about how neat of a freak I was.
Right.
But I was a person who you gotta have your everything, all your appliances and your knives and just certain stuff. It was probably in college, you probably looking like, dude,
Yeah, I was.
what are you doing? Chill out. But it was just something that was instilled in me from my mom
Yeah.
that I couldn't shake.
Right.
And I mean, I'm still like that to this day.
You
And
are.
imagine having kids trying to like, dude, I just cleaned this up, and then here come Elliot, dump a bucket of blocks out, and I'm like, I just picked them up, dude. But like, I think, but what was so beautiful after that though, after we didn't live together no more, was like, he was hitting me like, I got this, and I got this, or like, I got the crib nice,
Well,
clean. You know what I'm saying?
The importance of like everything's a representation of who you are and all of that. Like appearance and everything, like always gonna be clean. But just like if people didn't see it, it didn't matter, and so that wasn't
Right.
really the right way to go about things. But also had to learn, like you were the first person I had to really learn how to. Once you establish a friendship, is like, people are going to continue to grow and enter different phases of life, and like for me, especially, so I haven't had a ton of long-term relationships, and I'm pretty much a loner in a lot of respects. Don't think that's sad. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. Don't think that's sad at all.
But
I'm sorry for him.
yeah, but I just kind of had to learn, like, okay, as other people may move into different phases, and I'm not, like, how do you continue to maintain and grow a friendship while not,
And that's the thing is like,
that's the best lesson you've taught me.
I mean, because yes, I done hit different phases, and of course, people know I got children and a wife.
Yeah,
But
clean that one up. Shout out to Chelsea. Love you.
well, that's the thing is like, a person can easily, I done seen it firsthand. I done seen it from other people firsthand. A person can easily like, they don't understand like, man, I can't do that this weekend. I got the kids. I got to do this with the kids, or I got to do that, or whatever. And some people are like, all right, well, cool. Like, I ain't gonna, you holler at me whenever you holler at me, or whatever the case may be. But like, you be like, all right, well, all the kids coming down. I'm gonna come down and see them. I'm gonna come hang out, or whatever the case may be, or something. Right. And then you like, the trips you take, I'm like, I can't hit that one just yet, but you like, okay, well, I'm gonna keep asking. Because in due time, you're going to be able to. And
Absolutely.
You know it. So, but that's the thing of the beauty of, and that you do that some people just don't, and some people won't. And then it's more so, you can call them selfish or whatever, but again, it goes back to you being selfless, along with understanding and learning over the time. Like, boom, phase 1 was, you came to the hospital, Kellen was born. Boom. Yeah. Came to the hospital when Kaden was born. Shot down. Boom. You know what I'm saying? Would have came to the hospital with what's called it. It was COVID. You know what I'm saying? So
I got out as soon as I could.
You know what I'm saying? But boom. It's just that right there can go a long way, you know what I'm saying, of catching the milestones. You hit your graduation, you know what I'm saying? You
never miss.
You know what I'm saying? And the
milestones. I even went to your girlfriend's graduation, which was just what we did.
You know what I'm saying? Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so the milestones or even your graduation weekend is like, well, what you want to do? I'm going to make sure you get home.
Spend time with my friends. And yeah, I'm glad you got me home that night, by the way.
Right. But a great group of people that you support turns around and do the same. And I see it firsthand. I see it all the time. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you can see when you may ask for something, because you don't ask much, but it was something, people don't hesitate. They know, like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Because it's what you pour out to people. I will learn. What you pour out will pour back. And you don't pour out for something that you're looking for down the line. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't do for my wife or you or whoever looking for something returning in the favor.
Right. Well, that's the...
When people do for that, then you doing for the wrong reasons, and you shouldn't do from the beginning.
So altruism really sunk in for us,
Right.
The unselfish concern for the welfare of others.
Exactly.
You coach girls basketball. None of your kids are on that team.
None of them.
You do backpack, back to school giveaways.
And the thing about that was just like,
but most people don't know that about you. That's why. That's the point of this.
I don't,
but you do it for the right reasons, and you don't. Yeah.
And I don't really just show it off. I probably need to get better at least documenting my journeys in my life, or even the children and what they doing and stuff. Because a lot goes on, or a lot is going on versus what I'm showing and stuff. And I told Chelsea, I got to get better at least getting pictures of us doing stuff. Like, we'll throw a whole birthday party and probably get 2 pictures, you know what I'm saying, or whatever.
You got to update your picture up there too.
So, I got to get better at it. But it's like the things I do or what I'm doing is like, it's from the heart, or it's just in the moment.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. So like, when we hanging out, I could easily document every time we hanging out and you down or whatever. Phones is up most times because we are here having fun and enjoying in the moment. And yes, I need to probably get better at it, but we are enjoying in the moment to where.
Yeah, I come to see Elliot and
you know
Tate.
what I'm saying? And that's that boy.
And then if I can see Caden and Kaylin.
He a tear. Ellie's a tear. He gonna be the one.
He's my favorite right now.
He's
Sorry to the rest of you right now.
Look, but the thing, I named him Elliot Rain Oliver, which is ERO, which stands for Golden Child. Something told me, I don't know why, but I like he the Golden Child.
You're gonna regret saying that. Like you're gonna be like,
he gonna be a tear, but the beauty of it, that's the thing. I think the most fun stage right now. I'm knee deep in it right now, and I think it's the most funnest stage because you're getting so many different dynamics of Elliot or Tate or Kaylin or Kaden. It's just, or even freaking Riley. I'm learning stuff new with him. I'm saying, like, me and Chelsea having a debate right now. It's like, is he going to have dimples or not? She swear he got one. I swear he don't. It's just simple. Just
because you have the level 3 dimple. Don't fucking.
No, but like
look at it.
I think
we call that dimple flexing. When Rakeem unnecessarily.
Time out.
What are you doing?
How many photos you done see me where you like you see that dimple?
Who, me?
Yeah. Well, you swear you got that one.
Me?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I have. There are times where
you see that one. You don't hit me with it.
I'm just letting you know periodically, depending on what side.
Right.
I can compete.
Like, that's the beauty. I mean, like a question. I had a question for you was what does happiness mean for you?
Yeah. So, one thing for me is one of my hardest journeys, and I'm kind of still on it, but is just being less concerned about people understanding that my happiness may present itself in a different way than most people. Like, I was the youngest. I have a hyperactive mind. I think about things in a very complex way. I am okay with people. I'm okay with myself. I have an imagination. And so for a long time, I didn't allow myself to remain happy because when I was, people didn't necessarily give me a response that was like, "Oh, I'm glad you're happy." It was more like, "Hey, when are you gonna do X?" Or, "Are you sure you like? I don't want you to be alone."
Yeah,
all these different things,
right.
And you're like, "Ooh." So for me, me being able to really understand what happiness means to me, what had to happen first was me not trying to negotiate and convince myself out of happy moments when I had them. And so happiness for me is really just feeling productive, feeling like you're pushing yourself and being around people you don't have to question a lot, so you can really let loose
and be yourself
and be myself. And then happiness is just like seeing progress, and then like seeing it in others, seeing it in the people that I care about as well. What I had to really understand was, like, I used to try and convince myself, was like, I don't care what people think. It's like, yeah, I do. What I had to learn how is to determine who are the right people to care about what they think. And so you were one of these people at a younger age for me, where I was like, I respect him and I like the feeling of pride from in me from my friends. And so you just kind of learn how to carry forward the things that people you respect value in myself. And so you always tell me things that you value. It took us a while for us to be willing to express that to each other, but once we did, because you're someone I respect so much, like when you tell me or remind me or what have you, it goes a lot further than someone saying the same thing that I don't really know. So happiness is really like being able to um, feel like there's enough people that are close to me that are proud of or in support of the things that I'm doing, but also at the same time don't feel like they have to like treat me like a child and like constantly tell me that. But
Right.
so that happiness for me is like being able to be supported in the pursuit and the focuses that I have, and understand that those things will change, and to like I like being around, and I'm really at my happiest when I'm productive and the people that are around me understand why I enjoy that productivity. That's that's for me like
Right.
happiness.
And that's the thing though, is we didn't have the debate or the talk, which is like worried about what others think of us when they didn't matter to us.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did go through a phase where I tried to convince myself it didn't matter. And that's a bad, you don't want to go to that place either. And so, but that's why I have a strong like vetting process. Like there are levels to me, and there are levels to how we like treat each other, and I've always tried to make sure that anyone who's close to me knows the separation between how I feel about them and how I feel about a Joe on the street. I don't believe in this whole treat everybody the same thing. I think you should treat the least of us well, but I don't think you should treat the people that are closest to you the same way you would treat a stranger either. That doesn't mean you're treating a stranger bad, but it means that you're protecting the levels and you're sending the right signals to people to let them know that you're at a different level in their life.
And that's what I learned from you. Cause I mean, you know a phase I went through, like you like, I mean, you get along with everybody. Okay, you get along with everybody. So I remember you was like, you ain't fool with that person like that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't, but you know, you know what I'm saying? Like I learned like you taught me like levels of certain people because you taught me as well. Like some people only gonna want to use you or get something from you,
Yeah.
and you keep treating them the same way as the ones who got you or doing for you or got your back or whatever. You're not showing them no difference in the same as you doing for the person who's like just using you for whatever you need. I learned that for sure from you, but and I learned it through going through it a little bit as well to see like, ah, I see that, you know. And so, and you always have said it before.
Yep.
My circle. Before I never had a circle. I just was like I know people, knew a lot of people.
Yep.
Going through college, doing parties, whatever we did, fraternity, whatever. Knew a lot of people. And everybody was just like, I fool with you, I fool with you. But there's a difference of your circle, and that's what I developed is a circle. And I got my circle so small. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you know, boy, I don't even, if I don't talk to you more than on a regular, which we talk daily, you know, we may even just say a simple good morning.
Make
But
sure we started off right.
you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But it's a daily talk. And then you can't treat them people the same as you treat talking to somebody every month, every other month, or even when you just see them. It's cool. You may have some little fun hanging or whatever, but it's different. And it's one thing I learned through you over time was like it's completely different.
Yeah.
That person now I don't consider in my circle. My circle is this way. Before college or whatever, you know me, it was big, but that ain't my circle no more.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I wanna as we before I turn it over to you before we wrap, the last question I kinda have for you is just Given all we've discussed thus far, um, how has all of these things impacted the type of like dad you're trying to?
Man, from childhood all the way through, from every lesson I done learned, from seeing a father of mine and how he was, to turning around and mom's getting me back and having a great stepfather. The only thing is I'm he a great stepdad from 7th grade.
Shout out to
You know what I'm saying? So Jimmy was
yeah.
a great guy.
Yep.
You can't knock him for nothing. Ain't nothing he did. He said, I'm gonna push you and get your best of you. You're gonna be better than me.
Yep.
And he made sure of it. You know what I'm saying? And so from early on seeing what you didn't want to be to like, man, that person right there, you know, and not only that, but then seeing going through college, but also going through the life lessons, because I wasn't a perfect person. Everybody know that. I was me in some phases of it, but also you couldn't tell me I didn't do things from the heart for people. What if I did it right?
Okay, so how did you learn not to take it personal? Because I know that it matters to you that people take your intentions in a pure form, which can sometimes allow you to be susceptible to people kind of like you're in a constant state of trying to prove to them that you're a good person, all of that.
Right.
And you went through that phase, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of trying to prove that to people who realize you were trying to prove that to them, and they use you trying to prove it to them to get more of the good parts of you.
100%. And so
How did you learn how to deal with that?
learning that was trying to force something instead of letting it come, which we talk about. I'm trying to force something that I didn't have growing up, instead of letting it come to where you doing all the things you think you're doing that's supposed to be the correct way or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Not trying to have no outside baby mamas or whatever the case may be. But understanding is like, you're only gonna be able to do or allow so much to where you're like, okay, like, I still can be a good person for what I really want to be a good person for, which is that child, and not have to be being constantly say you're not doing enough or you not putting in enough. Because at a certain point, yes, you're going to do all you can for somebody, but you also got to be understanding as in like, what you doing for yourself?
Yeah.
Or what are you putting in for yourself? So I learned that as in like, I had a phase where I wasn't doing nothing for myself.
You still got to do more, but you're better about it.
100%. I still need to do more. And I know I need to do more, and I will.
But you sacrificing now
for later.
Yes.
I'm doing a great sacrifice now, but guarantee you later, know when I'm coming. You know what I'm saying? But like, but before I was sacrificing when I shouldn't have been. But I was sacrificing for the wrong reason instead of understanding as in like
you wanted somebody to sacrifice for versus finding someone worth sacrificing for.
100%.
Yeah.
I was trying to force something that couldn't, or didn't need to be forced.
Right.
And you got to learn it.
Yep.
You got to go through it and learn it. And so doing that, it taught me as in like, okay, you take that energy and put it towards your kids. And then one thing they can't say, well, so my daddy never did, or my daddy never been around. You know what I'm saying? As in like, they know, they got something.
I am the person that you're best friends with is who he is in part, large part, because my dad made a similar decision when he had me and Brian that he wasn't gonna be like his daddy.
And that's the thing. It's like,
and so
you see something and you don't want to be it, and 100%.
But you got to get the people that make that choice, because it's a fork in the road.
Right.
lot more people just replicate the very things that when they take a deep breath, say, I didn't like in my dad, mom, whatever, they'll repeat it. So it is not automatic that you're going to choose the other route.
No,
So
a lot of people take that and use it as a handicap and become it.
It justifies.
My dad was this, I'm going to be this.
Yeah, so they're going
to
justify.
My mom was this, I'm going to be this.
Yep.
And that's the easy route.
It
to
is.
me. It's hard to like, I don't want to be that. I'm going to do better.
Even if my habits are saying I'm going to more likely be that, but I don't want to, so I'm going to do what it takes to not fall in the same.
Forcing your habits more.
Absolutely. Yep.
And it's a daily grind, it's a daily push, or whatever the case may be. It may be all the way in your DNA, but if you tell yourself you're not going to be there and you stick to making sure that your habits would outbeat whatever your DNA was trying to produce to show. And that's what I did. Was I perfect? No. Did I do it the correct way? No. I tell you every day, like, boy, I done been through court battles and some more stuff that I could have been like, man, look, the easiest route could have been like, I'm good. You do it, you got it. I saw my right, so whatever the case may be. But
I was there through it all. You're gonna have those days where you're like, man. But ultimately, you knew what you didn't want to be, and but more importantly, you knew what you wanted to be. And so,
and that's the thing, is like, I had my mindset on something I wanted to be, which is something that I know I made a difference in, something I created, but not only that, but a difference in people who put the same trust in me I put in them.
Yep.
Same friendship that they put in me, I put in them. And so
you believe in reciprocity in a way that most people talk about, but they don't really commit themselves to.
And it's the thing, is like, okay, it's work or whatever the case may be, but this is what I put my mind to. This is what I want to see. This is the difference I want to try to make or whatever. And so, yes, it has paid off now, and it was a process again too, but it's a beautiful thing. And was the process perfect? No, but like my mama told me, each lesson you gotta hit or go through to be able to see or get to where you actually is. Because if you just didn't go through no lessons or no trials, and no telling what you'll do or where you be.
Yeah. You just think nothing ever comes of anything you do. So as we wrap, what are the questions you have for me?
So the one was the happiness question, which you answered. The other one was, what does being successful mean, and do you feel like you're there, or you're still trying to get to your definition of successful?
So anyone who's ever seen, if you ever hear people talk about rat poison, a lot of times they're referring to Nick Saban's press conference when he, everybody was saying all these great things about him, and he was like, it's rat poison, effectively saying, it looks like good food, things you should eat, and then ultimately it pulls you in, you eat all the things, all the praise, and then ultimately you go back to where you came from and you're dead, because you just. So I struggle with this one, because to me, success, you need to set markers on the road to success, but at the end of the day, I fundamentally believe that success isn't a destination. It's truly a journey. And like, if you really are trying to work towards a single thing, it could be detrimental. So success to me is just like really remaining respectable, remaining true to who I am and how I am, but also as I get older, being able to adapt, but at the same time keeping the essence of who I am. I always say I want to be respected by the respectable.
Right.
My dad used to always say to us, like, on your last day or even the day after your last day, and people are sitting there mourning you being gone, if they can say, at the end of the day, if all they say is he was a good man, this world's a very hard one for that to be the last memory that someone has of you. So for me, success is also being someone that folks not just think are a good man, but will really like challenge anyone who says otherwise. Like that extra level of, yeah, he's a good dude, but like if someone's like, wait a minute, nah, this isn't I wasn't debating this.
Right.
He's objectively good. And then another component is I want to be not just good and competent. I want to be freaking desired and great at what I do.
Correct.
Whatever I choose to like put my mind to, I don't want to just be better than average. And a lot of people say this stuff, but it's like, are you willing to sacrifice? And that's the last thing is I want to be able to be someone who is better than the absolute, like better than the vast majority of people that are similarly situated. Like I always want to be delivering more than what is expected of me. I want to having this extreme fear of disappointing people.
Mm-hmm.
And so success is like not disappointing. And I know a lot of people are afraid of that type of the gravity of that, but like I'm not. I like the speed of things. I like not just thinking, but now as I get older, knowing that everybody can't do what I do. I remember the first time when we're talking about success, like kind of obsessing, the point in which I realized that I was obsessive about competition.
But you're a person that love competition.
I love it. Like
100%.
Like I have to have it with my family. Both my dad and my brother are coaches. Brian was as good as I was at basketball. He was 3-4 times better. And I always, thankfully, early on, and I've said many times about kind of that turning point in my life of kind of being able to just say like, you know what, I'm gonna define what success means for me. Thankfully happened early, but I remember starting college and just not having a competitive outlet for the first time. I didn't have a sport to play. I didn't know, I couldn't get that energy out, and so early I just wanted to be competitive in fraternity. I wanted to be competitive. I wanted to be the best friend. I wanted to be the best student. I needed that energy and outlet. And I remember talking to a friend of mine, and it was something. And when I knew I was different, I didn't just want to compete. I needed respect. All these different things was. He's like, yeah, why can't more people be like you when it comes to, if you can do it, why can't more people do X? And that was the first. I was like, let me just tell you something, motherfucker. Like, you think you're paying me a compliment, but you really being real disrespectful right now. And
Trying to think that
just
everybody
like,
on your
what?
level, like what?
Like, wait.
That's the thing, though.
Totally didn't understand why, and I had to spell it out. I was like, let me just tell you real clearly. Black, white, male, female, I am not average. And when you ask the question, why can't other people do the things that you do or how you do it, you're making it seem like that the average person should be able to do what the fuck I do.
We're trying to make it seem like you average.
Now, I know him. It's still a friend, but did he mean it that way? No. But sometimes you got to let people know like what they're really saying.
Right.
And that was when I knew that like different level of maniacal
But
that I take to things.
that's the thing, though. Is like from day one, you always wanted it to be the best of what you touch or got your hands on or
I want to be the
involved with.
best. Yes. I want to be the best at the things that I've chosen to do.
So, I mean, we can go back to.
I'm not the best at everything.
Right, but we can go back to weekends. And even after you graduated, and then I became pole mark. Before you was pole mark, you wanted to make sure you dominated. Then I became pole mark. And you was like, I mean, we came into an argument. He's like, I know y'all ain't, we was arguing about something, dealing with that, because you was like, no, y'all need to dominate. And pretty much y'all take over this weekend, and if somebody don't like it, it is what it is. But that's in your DNA of what it was.
It is. And it can push people away. And that I could think to bring it kind of together is I think that's why when we talk about kind of that moment where we knew our friendship was at just a different level, it was like understanding that how I am is because of that, not because of what I think of anyone else. Like the need to, that deep sense of inadequacy that I still carry and that a lot of people don't understand how to convert into positivity.
Right.
Like you eventually understood, like, no, he's just trying to maintain a standard. And like, I fall short of the standard as well as the right way to try to impart that standard all the time. All the time. One of the things that I'm most focused on, or one of the thing that I was most focused on this last year in my career was how do I adapt to different leadership while at the same time maintaining who I am and what makes me desirable in the position that I'm in.
Right.
For next year, it's gonna be how do I, now that you have that confidence and now that you have that capital, how do you then say, I am gonna now convert these learning from kind of a direct report of how to adapt to different leaders that I interface with more now than ever. How do I now say, okay, when I am a people leader and I lead a large group, how do I not just demand that the people that report to me adapt in the way that I've focused on this past year, but how do I enable them and how do I adapt to them and meet them? I don't want to say in the middle, but make the learning curve easier for both sides. So those are things but that is about competitiveness.
Right.
It's like constantly trying to figure out how do you be better is important to me.
Right.
Because I've always had this sense of I grew up where my dad is extremely respected, my brother is extremely respected, and that's who I measured myself against, and that's who I was compared against.
Right.
And so I had to figure out what was going to make me different, but not be someone who had to do the opposite of my competitors or the people that I perceived I was competing against. It was, how do I take the principles that matter? Nothing that my dad or my brother did was a negative example, but how do I take those positive examples but apply it to me and what's unique to me? And that was the journey that probably, is where probably if someone perceives wisdom in me, it's probably been because of that journey that I had to go on.
So funny about stories is like, so you grew up with an example in a way of like from your dad, man,
Who is not perfect and who probably through the first 13, 14 years of my life, we had a lot of tension, like
Right.
obviously mutual respect, and we had similar interests, but we clashed because we were so similar.
Right. And so, and I mean, great. To me, I told you, like, I think your dad's one of the greatest. But you came from kind of a standard as in, my dad did this, my brother did this. I kind of got to be, or I feel like I should be doing this. Or did you feel like you didn't have like no pressure and you just knew I'm going to be this? Because
No, I had all the pressure because I'm not entitled to what they did.
right,
That was the lesson. That was the freak out moment of like, it doesn't matter how successful or good or whatever, or how hard they work or whatever, respected. That doesn't entitle me to that. And like a lot of people have that realization, and it's a very hard one for them to realize. Like, just I think from the black community perspective, like there's not a lot of entitlement with legacy that may be there for other. And I'm not. In fact, I don't know that that's a good thing. I think legacy is an investment that is important because of how it may make certain things easier for your family down the line. But I had to realize that. And so it was extreme pressure because given that they were both kind of in a similar lane, there was a lot of pressure if I were to step out of the basketball lane.
right,
It's no guarantee that my success would be perceived in the same way because people are used to seeing shares do this.
and then
And
you
I'm
went and
like,
did something else.
I'm like, I'll be good. I'll be one of the better players on the team, and better players in the conference or whatever. And I'm gonna still work hard. I'm gonna still do all these things,
Right.
but that's not what I want to hang my hat on.
So I made you with a curveball real quick, kind of a question. And so you got 3 degrees,
Right?
first of the family to do it.
Yes.
What drove you to want to do it?
Just curiosity. Curiosity. It wasn't to prove anything to my family. It wasn't to.
Was it so it didn't have nothing to do with want to be the first of two? Because like me getting 1 degree is the first of my family, regardless. You know what I'm saying? Me going to college is almost the first of my family. So like I didn't have such, I feel like probably high expectations unless I want to bounce to the ebony side of it,
Right.
you know, and go for
No.
tack with that.
No, I mean, no, it didn't have anything to do with that. And you know, everybody in our family were the first at something.
Right.
But yeah, I just didn't. I didn't think of it that way. So I just was on this journey of knowledge and wanting to understand things. And law school was something that I've always thought about because I like to understand how things work. And I felt like the law was the ultimate understanding of how our society is structured and all of these different things. And then I was working in sports management at the time. And Mike Conley Sr., we were just sitting there and he's just like, you should do it. And I always joke with him, I should send him my student loan bills because he wasn't a reason why I went to law school, but he was kind of one of the final reasons. And ultimately, I still pay every month. But I just wanted to understand how the world worked.
How it worked, right. Okay.
And so it wasn't, by the time of law school, I wasn't trying to prove much to anybody.
So how big of an accomplishment is that for you? That you did it, that you did 3 degrees, that you...
Well, so it's not the number or any of that. That matters to me because I think it's important for my future family to know that one of the parents, So it's important to my kids, my future kids, that one or both of their parents did something that nobody before them did. That's not why I went to law school, but I think it's important. It's an important accomplishment to me because no one could tell me how that it worked.
Right.
No one could be there for me to make me feel like, okay, their guidance is rooted in experience and all of this. Like, I just had to figure it all out. I had to figure it out intellectually. I had to figure it out culturally. I had to figure out how it was going to go through, how it was going to affect my career. I had to then understand how it was affecting my disposition and how I was like a crusader, and I felt like everything was wrong with the world, which is one of the downsides of understanding how things work, is you can understand what's wrong easier too. But law school was a huge accomplishment because it was very much an unguided mission that I finished early, that I was respected and successful at. I wasn't, top 5 in the class. I could care less about my grades. I ran into one of my classmates at the Missouri football game, and he's like, how's life going? I know you're doing well. He's like, I know you never, really wanted to practice. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I don't mean that negative. I was like, no, I don't take that negative at all. Like, yeah. That wasn't my focus.
Right.
But it was an accomplishment also because of the people who, from IT and outside of IT, but specifically IT, who saw me and went to grad school and went to law school and did all these things. That's why that's important.
Gotcha.
Because I knew I never was really going I use it every day, but I just never was going to practice. But it's hard to get people to understand that there's utility in it without practicing.
One more. I'm throwing you curveballs. But you've been through law school and stuff, and I have seen you try to or have mentored others.
Yeah.
What drives you to want to do that or be that mentor for others, and do you enjoy doing it?
Yeah. My dad's a coach. My brother's a coach. At the end of the day, I think that's a part of our DNA. I just probably didn't want to follow that route. I actually had a former coach at the Division I and at the NBA level asked me, like, why aren't you coaching?
Right.
A few weeks ago at the house. And so mentor is kind of my way of coaching a different life. Like, I think because of all the pressure early on from the basketball perceptions of what I needed to be, I was just like, I'm more than this. And like, I'm interested in more than this. And the more that I try to be as good or better in this field as the two people I respect, almost probably more than anyone, the further I'm away from what is my identity, which is just, I have just this universal interest in a lot of things. And so the mentoring part is kind of a way for me to take all of these life experiences over time and say, I can coach you on what you want to do or what you're facing. And I'm not going to do what people did to me and basically say, this is your lane. I know you're 14, but I know what your life should be.
Right.
Like, you don't know shit.
Right.
So I try to be a person who kind of consults more than I do kind of unsolicited coaching. Now, I've had to get to that point because I used to, if I cared about you, I felt like I had to tell you immediately. And now I've kind of learned how to let people figure things out, but like, I think it's a responsibility as a friend to be somebody who's able to adapt to what the friend needs and not feel like you have to
Steer them to the right direction before they
steer
can go
steer
there.
them to the direction you would take. It is your job as a friend to understand what Rakeem wants to be and be willing to try to figure out what are the best things for him to do what he wants, and not always talk from the perspective of what I would do, what I think I would do in his situation based on the life I've lived. I think it's always been important to me with friends is to say, learn them to such a degree that when you're giving them advice or they're asking you what they or getting your opinion, that you're speaking to them as a second voice of them and not the first voice of you. And so that's why mentorship is important. It helps me in many areas of my life, but it also is a way for me to use that thing that I know my dad and my brother have in that coaching life that I have. I just chose the different route.
All right, last question right here.
You said that like twice.
Twice. Okay, I got one more though, because you be giving some good stuff. So, your brother, your dad, all are close, but starting out, it wasn't that.
Yes.
Right. What was the turning point to make y'all that?
It was kind of that 14, 15-year-old range when, I'd go out and I'd probably have, in junior high, I might have a 18-point game, maybe 4 or 5 assists, 4 or 5 rebounds, couple steals. And I remember specifically, I think it was at Whitehall, and I think I hit like 8 threes in that game. And then Brian might have had like 40 that week. People were like not impressed that I went like 8 of 9 from three. And it was like, basically until you put up a 40 ball, like what are you really doing? Yeah. And so I just had a breakdown at the house. I had enough. And typical Brian, just unfazed, like almost like I understand, like not. I think I definitely was crying when I was probably yelling, "I'm sick of this," and everybody's comparing me. I'm going, and like it has nothing. Brian never has done never been anything but supportive of me in everything that I do.
Right.
He was a tough brother early on, but like as far as being supportive, like Brian is fantastic. And so seeing how he handled that, I'm like, what? Like I'm irrationally attacking him. Like, and he's just like almost, he didn't say anything, but it's just almost like Brian was just like, get it out.
Yeah.
And then my dad and I had just because dad and I, we clashed, and like we're so similar. And he's so stubborn, and like for him to see, like, okay, this isn't one of those teaching moments. This is one of these moments I need to be here for my son, who I am the most alike. And he kind of told me that, like, hey, there's a lot of things I understand. Like your Uncle Charles, he was great at everything, military. He was just fantastic human being. And my dad would always be compared to Uncle Charles, who was the younger brother of my dad's mom. And so he had went through some battles and stuff in life, and then obviously just was really comforting and all of that. And so from that point, it was just like both of them encouraging me. I remember Brian coming from the back as Daddy's talking to me, and just like, man, just who cares what?
Right.
Just be you, dude. And so from that point, like I still applied that same, I didn't have summers and we worked out every day. It's part of the reason why I'm okay with being alone. Like I didn't have friends who were in the trenches with me, not having summers and traveling, and the world wasn't about me. Actually, the world was mostly about Brian because I had to learn how to find purpose in a world that wasn't centered around me. And so that was kind of that turning point that then led to me kind of just saying, fuck this shit. Like
Right.
I'm me. I'm gonna spend time with the people I care about. I'm not gonna be hungry for a quantity of people. I'm gonna hold on to the good things that I've found. I'm gonna be the best at what I want to do. World's gonna be, up and down, ebbs and flows, highs and lows, and like no one's gonna be immune to that. But what you can do is control the amount of effort and purpose that you bring to things, and don't look back, and like just be as good as they say the other two people in your house are. Be as good at what you choose to do. And like that's what I've been focused on
Right.
doing ever since. Now, have I achieved that in my eyes? No, but like I am never going to. And I don't. I try not to let other people be impressed based on where their effort level is with the effort level I put in. So
Right. No, that makes sense because I was curious. I mean, I tell you all the time, like that bond is that y'all got now. It's just
it took a lot,
right, and so
and it's hard because a lot of
I
times I
love
talk
seeing
about
it.
my dad, and it can feel like we were always like we always agreed and saw eye to eye and everything was constructive and all. It's like, no, I've had some clashes with my dad. I've taken some whoopings where I'm like, no, I'm not gonna say I was wrong on this. Like, do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
And like I think my dad respected, like I have a point of view and I have a value set, and like I am okay to suffer any consequence that comes with upholding what I believe is right. And like that's probably the best lesson that I probably learned
Right.
growing up in Monticello, and in that boiler of a house of excellence. And so
But
yeah,
it taught you to be what you are still.
yeah. Yeah.
And
But you got to learn. What I want to end on is this: I can spin positive. I have learned how to spin positive lessons out of anything that I've faced in life. That is not always the case. And I think a lot of people have to understand you have to develop that capability. Like the things that happen to you in life aren't going to magically appear positive. You
no.
have to learn
Nope.
how to see the positive things in people and in situations and stuff like that. And I think that's probably what we should come back to is just like in a later conversation of like people think folks who kind of convert these things into positivity like it's just a characteristic or something that happens. It's like no, you got to learn how to take negative shit and use it.
Mhm.
It's not something that's easy.
No, it's not in the characteristics. Because if you're going characteristics of DNA, we get our characteristics DNA from what we are passed from our parents. So
Yeah,
you can get past bad stuff from your parents, but that don't make you just who you are. If you decide you want to be something different, and the best thing is trying to spin negativity into something positive, but it's work towards it.
yeah,
And
it takes time.
yeah, it takes time, it takes repetition, it takes commitment, it takes being uncomfortable.
Yep.
Being uncomfortable. The easiest thing that people do is they like to do stuff. A lot of people like to be comfortable doing something they do. Well, if you want to be different, if you want to be better, you want to be better than average, you have to be uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
so that's just what it takes. And I 100% agree with it. And that's what you said. It's like, I'm not average. I see myself as something else. So you going to grind to be more.
Mm-hmm. And not be satisfied.
Right.
Will you come back?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll come back. Probably
I know where you
give
live.
me on this thing weekly. How much we be talking, man?
I know. Well, you know I love you, man.
I love you too, bro. And I appreciate it. I mean, this is great. This is what we do daily, or not daily, but we do this on a regular too. So, I mean, for people to see it is great as well, and what you're doing. Besides for the rest of the people you get out here, I know you got a list of people you're gonna get out here. So,
Yeah.
so
Rethinking all of that, but no, I appreciate you coming by.
nah,